My name was Warren Wright, and born in Ontario in 1949, I guess it was. And during high school, friends of mine, we were all in automotive. One of my good friends that we always hung out together said, you know, we should get into aviation as mechanics. I thought, that's a good idea, you know, rather than climbing under an automotive or truck. Well, I'm the only one that did. The others went into truck overhaul and maintenance, and I got into aviation. When I first got into, out of high school into aircraft mechanics, and spent 6 years in Aurelia, got my engineer's ticket and my commercial pilot license. And my brother drove me out west to find a job in aviation, you know, and he used to get a chuckle out of how fast I was in and out, that nobody wanted me. I had an engineer's ticket, so I called Perry Linton up, and he had Nahanni Air Service here in North Wells at the time, and he says, yeah, he says, I'll get you a ticket. Come on up tomorrow, if you can. I said, yeah, okay. So I thought, somebody will pay me to go somewhere. I'll go. I didn't know where North Wells even was at that time. I came up in July, August sometime, and it was a small operation, and I was doing maintenance at night and flying during the day, or, you know, it's just the way it was. I worked for Perry, I think it was 13 years in total for Nahanni Air. And Perry seen that I was going to be leaving, so he offers me the air service. When we took it over, it was one of the lowest times the North was. Everything was, the oil companies pulled out. It all happened at the goofy time, but so then we took over the air service and started running it, and the air service just kind of grew just from necessity, what people needed. We just tried to keep up with it, you know. So as far as the local people wanting to get into, I'm still embarrassed too. My dad was up visiting, and I heard that the Delny people, they started looking for investors, and they went to some guy, I heard about it, in Fort McMurray, that was gonna come in and run an air service from Fort McMurray up to Delny through Yellowknife and all this. And my dad was visiting that time, and I came home at noon and heard this, so I'm embarrassed about it, but I got pretty heated up about it, and I called one of the guys in Delny, Danny Gadet. I said, you know, like, what is this? You know, why don't you deal with somebody you know? You know me, you know, the last 20 years just about, you know, like, why are you dealing with some used car salesman? And I didn't know the man from, you know, he was just, to me, a threat. So anyways, Danny said, well, we should talk. We started forming the air service, or the partnership with everybody. And as it turned out, this guy was a used car salesman. I just anger blatted it out, but I was embarrassed because my dad was there, and talking harshly to Danny at the time. But we had a meeting, went over in Delny to start with, and joined. We had all the boys there at the time. They're still part of the air service, and got Good Hope involved, and then North Wells, and it worked out great, the partnership. So as far as running a company for the partnership, they were wanting to know who's going to predecess. I thought, you know, this is a good time, and let the new generation take, right or wrong, you know, if they make mistakes or whatever, let them take it and run with it and see what they can do. So everybody makes mistakes. I mean, I made enough of them, so. I'd do it all over again if I had to, but it was an interesting time. Although when you're doing it at the time, it didn't seem any, the interesting part was what the guys did in 1930, not what you were doing then. You know, it didn't seem like there was no history there being made. But I mean, I look back and I always think boy, I wish I was flying back in that era, you know, but it really wasn't any different. It was just that changes were done, and, you know, yeah. I wasn't at no forefront of aviation. It was well into, it had been out there for a long time before I came along. And that's why I like the old history of the old airplanes and the old pilots, you know.